what we are. And in explaining what is the purpose of the teaching of emptiness, he points out that the purpose of emptiness is to really eradicate our grasping at phenomena. And here he states in another text, 60 stanzas of reasoning, which is another Madhyamaka middle way text. Nagarjuna says that to a mind, that holds on to some notion of object, some notion of locus, why wouldn't the afflictions arise in that mind? In other words, Nagarjuna is saying that as long as there is some notion of objectivity, there is some notion of some kind of location to which one can refer to, so long as there is that kind of notion to a mind, then on the basis of that, a grasping will arise, which will then lead to afflictive responses in form of attraction or aversion, and so on. So what Nagarjuna is pointing out is that one of the principal purpose of the teaching of emptiness is to dismantle this objective focus that serves as the basis for our grasping. And so, and this dismantling of the objective focus does not imply a total negation of the phenomena or non-existence of the phenomena. So therefore, emptiness does not imply non-existence or mere nothingness. Therefore, because if you, he then goes on to explain the meaning of emptiness is dependent origination. And then he explains this, for example, dependent and non-dependence, or dependence and independence, are mutually exclusive. In fact, they are directly contradictory, and they observe the law of the excluded middle. So there is nothing that is either of the two. So if something is dependent, it cannot be independent, and if something is independent, it cannot be dependent. Therefore, since phenomena arise and come into being through their nature of dependence, that means they are devoid of their status as an independent existence. And this absence of independent existence is the meaning of emptiness. And therefore, in the very expression, dependent origination, and Nagarjuna points out the meaning of emptiness is complete, because the first part of that expression, dependent, negates the extreme of absolutism, because it indicates the nature of dependence. It excludes any possibility of independent existence. Therefore, it negates, it avoids falling into absolutism. The second part of the expression, origination, guards us against falling into an extreme of nihilism, because the term origination indicates that there is not nothing, because things do come into being. So, and things do come into being through their nature of dependence. So through the combination of these two expressions, pratita samupada, or dependent origination, then the full meaning of emptiness comes into the picture. So then he says that, therefore, in 24th chapter of Mula Madhyamaka Karika, Nagarjuna says that which is dependently originated, that has been taught to be empty. So he's equating the meaning of dependent origination and emptiness here. So, and then he goes on to say that this is dependently designated. So again, here you have two expression as two parts, dependently and designated. Dependence excludes absolutism, and designated excludes nihilism, because things do possess identity, but it is an emergent, dependent identity. And then he goes on to say this is the true middle way. So when we refer to Nagarjuna's school as a middle way, that's the sense in which it is referred to as middle way, because it's the middle way of neither falling into the extreme of absolutism, of postulating inherent existence, or nihilism, falling into nihilism of total nothingness or non-existence.
Under the touch is 실은인도 on the sick and assuming damage to Misa in the Mangushangua. The Kuru Sidi, Gabja Cabra Jaya Mardi, Ine, the Thomas Sages, got there, pulling over the Dajan, makes motion check, pulling over the Dajan, Rungshin, you don't believe, Rungshin as you shall. Saturday in the Umeshun or Tanalia, Kudu de Chick Merimore, Subrashime, Darashime, Chirashime, sent the Chizu. This is what you are done for Kudu, the Sumi Tami Timis Sunga in it, Hua, Madame, make you call the Ige, pulling over the Daja, Rungshin, you don't want to know so dogs and Sunshan, dig it, that Rungshin of my job. But on the Dodge Banani, never did Masu, young Tanya to you are a sin. Dabani Chichesudwa. General Gulubi, Sanja Namdi Church, but Dabani Yanda dance chaining, Dini the Dani, generally church, someone of Dini the Pistades, Dini the Days on Yaris, Jisudo. Any young gathered in our day, didn't Tanya to Injis. Tanya to your shed. And a power under the beautifulity and the Pasatut. Social Rajatangu and the Tushi Gyalgoya could do the any Gyalacho, Tanya some drawers. Gyal said it, now the law now machine, 10 young men and you ever did. 10 young men, you ever should 10 young men and you ever should be in Yana. 당일이 기도를 야나 셴이 기도 다 근데 방에다 셴이 전에 니한테 샤 워낙 겨워요 이 근데서는 겨워죠 탄연성 줘봤어 탄연성 줘봤어 이 어체도 그렇죠.
So with reference to the the explicit question about literal reading of Heart Sutra, of course, in certain parts of the text, we do read such statements as no eye, no nose, no ears, and so on. But here,
제가 꿈에 나누라 양 시로 님급도 야 단다 담바 단지 도저는 띵기요 니 띵기도래 다 시박하면 말에 사지야 그러나 단단 담바 뭐데 되지는 도저는 담바 다 시박하고 니소스고를 산지는 직습니다. 또 시로님이 또 허가 때문에 숨을 잠이 살때 다시 막하면 좀 말해서 오늘은 안 했습니다. 단데 가서 나다베 엔디 por 시기 많이 시공 지금 때에는 이런심에 소리야 됐어. 근데 이 숨을 잠이 팀에서 무슨 시끄러운 시지스 말했어. 이 다시 가고
So there are statements where we read in the Heart Sutra statements such as no eye, no nose, no ears, and so on. But what we mean by Madhyamaka's literal reading of the sutra does not mean that you accept literal meaning of every single passage in that particular text as it is. In fact, when we read such negation statements in the sutra, the question has to be asked, in what manner it does not exist? And then here we have to relate it to the context in which the negation is taking place, and we know that right at the beginning of that particular section of the sutra, the Buddha himself states that all five, even the five aggregates, do not exist, do not possess inherent existence. So the qualification inherent existence for the negation has already been made at the beginning of the section, which then needs to be applied. This is a kind of a literal device, so that you don't have to all the time keep repeating inherent existence, inherent existence, inherent existence, and so on, because the context makes it clear that what is being negated is the inherent existence of these phenomena. However, this said, there are middle way masters who accept Heart Sutra and others to be definitive, but not necessarily literal. But other Madhyamaka masters like Chandrakirti would maintain that it is both definitive and literal as well. And it is literal because the manner of non-existence has already been